Good morning. In this LinkedIn Live, I'm going to talk about not just practice efficiency for your small accountancy firm, but why does it become more important? This session is going to be a taster of the session that Carbon are going to be running with Coral and Jonathan from JVCA Accounting of how they've more than doubled their practice efficiency and turned around a failing practice. And that's in our Amplify Our Growth Week session. And there is a link in the description to book on now if you find it interesting. But let's get started. So first of all, we're going to look at why does practice efficiency become so much more important as you grow? At a simple level, as you grow, it's easy to put top line growth on, but not put the same level of bottom line growth on. In fact, as your practice grows and you start taking on people where when it was just yourself, you could be 60, 70, 80% profitable, not including your own salary. But actually, as you grow, you've got to take on people, and that net profit margin starts to really, really shrink down. In fact, a lot of accountants have said to me, I think I'm becoming a recruitment agency. What do you mean by that? And they talk about how, well, they bring people in, they pay people, but they don't seem to get that extra bit of profit. And that amount they can take out of the business never seems to really grow that much. That is why practice efficiency is so, so important. Particularly as you grow, it's easy to miss things. You can't, move things forward just with the sheer force of your personality, which is why practice efficiency is absolutely key. When you're getting over that 100K, it needs to go up your priority list. Now, what are the easy wins? Well, we're going to start with the easy practice efficiency wins, and then, of course, we're going to go on to the harder ones. Well, the easy wins are the ones where I'll talk about where's the spare change down the back of your small accountancy firm's sofa. So where have you got dormant subscriptions you're not using? Where have you got software that you're paying that 10, 20, 30, 40 quid, or maybe even the 200, 300 quid a month that you're not using? Where you may be spending £1,000 a month or more on legacy software, which actually there are far better cloud-based alternatives now that are much, much more suited to you as a small practice. This is what I call back of the sofa wins. And actually, for most of us, you may find that there's anything from 200 to £2,000 a month of savings just there. Think about that. That could be the equivalent of 20, 30 grand just straight on your bottom line by doing a bit of what I would call financial due diligence, the stuff you tell your clients to do. The next thing is look at your pricing. Now, most of us, when we're pricing, we price it for when it's just us sitting in our home study. Now, unfortunately, that does not leave the headroom for when we have to take on premises. Our software costs go up, our people costs go up. I have never met an accountancy firm yet that between 100K and 500K has not had to do a major repricing. 20, 30% increases across the board. I have not met a firm that has not had to do that in that growth to readjust and get their pricing right. And actually, if you're sitting here and going, I don't need to do that, one of the things that's happened with the pandemic is that what we're noticing is that clients are realizing that their accountants are really quite helpful, quite useful. Have you noticed they're getting in touch more often? And this isn't just the pandemic fear. This is that actually genuinely they're helpful. In fact, some of our members were talking and they're really good at ringing up now rather than just emailing. Now, of course, this is great for client service. This is great for your relationships with clients. This is great to find extra opportunities. It's not great if you've not priced it in. And actually, one of the things I would be encouraging every firm to do is think about repricing based on this additional service requirement that has appeared and is not going away. Now, of course, if you need help with repricing, we have got a session on the first day of Amplify Your Growth with Carl Reed and myself talking about how do you reprice, how do you set your prices, what is it you need to do so you can sleep at night but put your prices up. Now, if you've looked down the back of the sofa for those software subscriptions, stuff you're not using, if you've repriced, then you've got to look. The next thing is look at your process and systems. Are everybody working the same way? Can you put in a practice management system that is more appropriate for your firm and that everybody wants to use rather than people go, I really need to update the practice management system. It comes the equivalent of that rather dusty bit of stuff that we all know we need to do. Because let's face it, when you get above 150K, the whiteboard in the office does not work, particularly if people want to work a variety from home and also from the office. That just doesn't work anymore. That cannot be your priority list, the whiteboard in the office. Not if you've got any plans to grow much beyond 150K. So it is about putting in those consistent processes, getting people to work the system, and your practice management is really important. Now, if you've still got a practice efficiency hole, you're going to have to look at timesheets. I know there are practices that go, we don't do timesheets, we're modern, we're forward thinking, but actually, if you've got a practice efficiency hole, as you'll discover, timesheets and getting them done accurately are one of your longer term strategies to understand where the issues are. Is it in a system? Is it in pricing? Is it in budgeting? Is it in a person of your team? And sometimes you've got to use a good practice management system, particularly one that's got timesheets built in, such as Carbon. You know, our members love Carbon. In fact, we've just heard that our members who start working with Carbon will get 10% off for their first year, which is brilliant news. So actually, you've got to go, and this is what Jonathan and Coral did, and you'll find out is that they put together the timesheets that they got through Carbon with consistent processes, got everybody using Carbon, only then using the reporting systems and the dashboard were they able to hone in on where their key issues were. You know, they initially thought they had a problem with payroll. They started to fix that problem. They then realized their major problem was with bookkeeping. Now, they couldn't have done that without having really gone step by step through their process to put best practice, to get people following it, to get people using their timesheets, to get people putting their ad hoc pieces of work on that and what were billable. But they found that issue was with bookkeeping. And it was only through having those timesheets, the reporting, and a decent practice management system were they really able to dig in. As I said, everything I'm talking about now is getting harder and harder to sort out your practice efficiency. But this is where your practice may need to go. The next thing to look at is team culture. Now, actually, we were talking to a future prospective member, and I said there's a leadership issue. There's too much upwards delegation. And this might be the issue with practice management, where you get some members of staff who've learned that actually they don't want to think, they want to ask another person. And actually, we've got to get the team culture right of how do we work together so we have a strong team and we're efficient. And you may need to spend some work on values, resetting expectations. You may even need to do some performance management in order to help some people that are not fit for the future move on. Now, this you're looking at a time scale of 6-12 months to really sort out a team culture. It may even be a 2-3 year time scale. As Guy Robinson, a member of our advisory board for the club, said to me, it's taken him 18 months to stop upwards delegation from his team. And it's taken 18 months of consistently coaching them, not just going, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions, because that stops people telling you where there's stuff you really need to know about, but actually about jointly coaching them into really thinking about, well, if I wasn't here, what would you do? And co-working with them to help them find the answer so that they build their skill set. The next thing is team development. Very often, we kind of answer the queries when they come up, don't think about it. But actually, logging client queries, logging, when team members need help on something, logging those and looking at the patterns will help you identify where there are key topics to either educate staff or educate the team. And then you can put some training, some education in place, which will then improve your practice efficiency. But also with your team development, one of the things that can really kill your practice efficiency is recruitment fees. Now, of course, if you're a member of the club, you can get member rates of 16% of your new person's salary that's paid over 12 months. Non-members were actually just about to put the rates up significantly from 20% to 25% because of the state of the market out there. It's really hard to recruit. And this is going to kill your practice if you're continually having team members leave because you're not developing them. You're not providing that harmonious team culture that people want to be there. If you don't look at the harder, the slower stuff, the team culture, the team development, then people will leave and go elsewhere. and that is going to kill your practice efficiency. So I'm just going to really recap. Start with the easy stuff, the back of the sofa. Where are the coins down the back of the sofa? And that's your, where have I got dormant software for subscriptions? Where have I got stuff I'm not using? Where have I got maybe legacy practice management, accounts production software, or that technical software? But actually, there's far better cloud-based modern alternatives that are out there now. That's your easy stuff. Then look at your pricing. So we're getting a bit harder. Then it's about really looking at your process, your systems, coding them into your practice management system, looking at the Carbons of this world. They're brilliant. The practice ignitions of this world. They're brilliant. How can you save headcount by looking at the technology that's out there that will help you automate and remove those manual processes? Then you may need to go into the timesheets to really look in detail, where are we falling down? Then it's about your reporting, so you can see where the issue are. And it might be the combination of practice management, timesheets, reporting that help you really delve into where are particular issues. And finally, the long term, the harder stuff is about the team culture and the team development. Now, this has whetted your appetite. Come and hear how Jonathan and Coral at JVCA have literally turned around their failing practice through really going in deep. They've done all the easy wins. Find out how they made the wins with the hard wins, with particularly using Carbon. Carbon are sponsoring the session. That's on day 2 of Amplify Your Growth Week. There's a link to directly book onto that session. Or also there's a link in the comments. Looking forward to seeing you there. And if any of this has resonated with you, please let me know and put a comment in. I'm just going to go into the chat, and Neve has just said to me, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. I just want to pick that one up, because it's traditional leadership theory. Don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Actually, this can really hit your psychological safety in your team, which of course damages your culture, damages that strength, damages the people that will take initiative to move forward. And we think, well, that's helping people take initiative. But actually, psychological safety says this is the number one reason that will get your teams perform well. And psychological safety is about allowing people to feel safe to come and talk to you about problems. Now, if you say to them, don't come here with your problems, bring me solutions, you're telling them it's hard. Don't come here. Don't think about it. And of course, they're not going to come and talk to you. If you want to get into the bottom of practice efficiency, you need them to come and talk to you. So that's about adjusting your approach. So when they do come, you first of all say, thank you very much for alerting me to this. This is really helpful. I want to hear about this stuff. And then say, right, actually, talk to me about, if you were me, how would you think about solving it? How would you sort this out? I really want to hear your opinion. And work with them. So actually they feel part of the solution as well. But they start to think about these stuff, and they know that, you're going to listen to them. And yeah, Nikki, at the moment, it's really, really tough out there to recruit new people. In fact, I know several members that have, because they've neglected their team culture, their team development, have found that their staff have gone elsewhere, or they've had rotten apples, which of course an apple never starts as a rotten apple, but if we have the wrong culture around it, can very quickly. If we leave those bad behaviors, if we tolerate them, that becomes our problems with team culture. Our culture is the worst behavior we'll tolerate. As a result, what happens is often that barrel of apples, which is your accountancy firm, can get really poisoned by that one person that becomes two person, that becomes three person. And actually, if you don't need to recruit, that is a massive way to help your practice efficiency. And yeah, our accountants recruiter fees for non-members are going to go up quite significantly, still under where the market is. But yeah, Nikki, for your size of practice, Center or Carbon will do very well. Both of those systems will our members get a discount on. But Nikki, I'm going to be very much I'll introduce you to Carbon, and when you're ready, so that you can start to think that would be excellent for your practice, because you work very remotely, and also it will really help you with the sort of the timesheets. And we've got great members of the club that are taking things forward. So I've just gone through the chat, picked up with everybody. I'll speak to people soon, but do tell me if you've liked this, if you found this useful. Put a comment, like this, share this. Would love to hear what you think of this live.